Sublime magnificence.
Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublime and magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari Ellis Feo Grande on YouTube, back with another episode ready for season 4 of This Guy Hasn't Seen. And as usual, I am joined by my co-host and runner-mate, one of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Bill Smith.
Hey Omari, thank you for having me back. Thank you as always. Love being here, love doing this thing. It's my favorite thing. It's like a book club, but with movies. One
Yeah.
guy has seen it, the other one hasn't. You trade things back and forth. You should do it. If you're watching me, if you're hearing me do this, think of somebody in your life, your grandma, your friend, your mother, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your little sister. Um,
Yeah.
do this. You don't have to film it as a Zoom. You can Zoom if they're across the country. Then it's a great way to like schedule a hangout.
Regular meetings.
So I would highly advise this for anybody. Watch something or read something, but we're in the age of stupid people, and stupid people like to watch pretty colors rather than
Yeah,
read words.
pretty colors. And yes, we got some pretty colors here because we are starting this season off with a bang, and quite a few of us at that. Because 2 weeks ago, we went ahead and watched one of the most recent Mission Impossibles, Mission Impossible 6 Dead Reckoning Part 1. And we had such a good time at that we decided, as well as when we watched Mission Impossible 5 Fallout the earlier that year. Bill had the idea, threw it out during it. What if we just marathon the movies on the channel, baby? And so I was like, you know what? Let's do it. I don't know if Zoom heard me because I went high pitched, but we're marathoning the
We
movies
got
on the
it. We got
channel.
it. We got it. We
Yes,
got it.
thus we're starting off with 1990's Mission Impossible 1.
1990's Mission Impossible, 1996's Mission Impossible.
That
An
name.
American agent under false suspicion of disloyalty must discover and expose the real spy without the help of his organization. It is directed by Brian De Palma. It is written by Bruce Geller, David Cope, and Steven Zalian, and it stars Tom Cruise, John Voight, and Emmanuel Barrett. Um, so yeah, you kind of gave the little tease into that. Anybody who may have seen Fallout and was so upset that I was there, I know there are those people out there that are like, you can't start on five. I don't care what it is. You can't start. If it has a numbering system, you can't begin at five.
Yeah.
And
I,
I
I,
totally understand those people.
I'm generally one of those people.
But I did that. So sue me.
Yeah.
Um, and then since we had started at five, I felt like the logical step was to do six. But while we were covering six, I was like, you know what? We kind of need to do this whole freaking thing. Um, so let's not even play around with me using my choices every other week, and we bounce around, and we're taking over. We're doing a Mission Impossible takeover to start season 4. We are burning through every single one of these movies until we get to, hopefully by that point we have the final piece of the current franchise. Things never die in this day and age, but what they say
They're
is the
calling it
final
final.
the final piece of probably the Tom Cruise version of Mission Impossible um uh is hopefully at homes at that point, and we can finish off with that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the possibility that somebody else would be the star of these movies, but that totally is a possibility.
Oh yeah, it's a franchise like any other. They'll give it 5 to 10 years, and then they'll throw somebody in there.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know.
I,
They might not call him Ethan Hunt.
I hope
Like
not.
maybe. Maybe maybe Ethan is
I, I
in a
hope not.
cameo. Tom Cruise is in a cameo role at that point.
Yes, I would rather, if you do that, just get a new main character. Please, if you're gonna move on, move on.
Why can't he be James Bond? Why can't Ethan Hunt be James Bond though?
What? Well, like the character James Bond in a Mission Impossible movie?
No, I'm saying like James Bond. We're on our what, seventh James Bond? Why can't Ethan Hunt just be James Bond? And
Because
Tom
there's
Cruise
six other
just took a
movies
really
first.
long time starting it.
Because
He
it's
was
not
Sean
like they
Connery,
did
but
like two
the triple.
movies.
I
Yeah, because it
think
wasn't
I
like
think
two
Connery
movies.
maybe did four
Hmm.
before he passed the torch.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the length of time that it's happened, and I just don't want to hear
I
the
just
fucking
think because he's
argument.
so connected to them, like
Yeah,
he's probably still going to be the executive producer kind of thing, which is why I think he would end up being in a cameo role and the lead would just be some other
yeah,
handsome white boy.
yeah. I would like them to just kind of move on. Just kind of, if you're moving the torch, move the torch. Start a new legend. Get a new
hmm
thing like that. You had the, and rather than have, because you just end up putting the other person in a position to where they're compared to that actor before. Like even worse so than if they were just a new main character. Now they're the new main character who's playing that same role the other guy did, and thus just like, I want Tom. Where's Tom? Type shit.
I'm just saying it has happened successfully before. James Bond. The other American equivalent would be Jack Ryan. Uh, um, they're not. They've never really been my kind of movies, but that would have been Harrison Ford, Alec Baldwin. Um, who was somebody else was next, and then it was Ben Affleck at one point, and now it's somebody else. It's John Krasinski currently. They're all Jack Ryans. It's another one of these like U.S. agent kind of Hunt for Red October. I think was a Jack Ryan movie.
Really? Fair enough.
I think.
I
I don't know.
believe you.
Like I said, I'm not big on the Jack Ryan universe. I
I've
just
never
know,
seen Hunt for
I
Red
just, I just
October,
know
so
it's a universe. Tom
gotcha.
Clancy's Jack Ryan.
Ah, Tom Clancy. Is it Jack Ryan or Jack Reacher?
Jack Ryan.
Jack
Reacher
Ryan.
is a different thing.
Okay. Mission Impossible. That's
Yeah,
uh,
Mission Impossible. So, Omari, obviously you've never seen this one.
right.
That's the whole premise of the show. And that'll be an ongoing thing for the next several weeks. Um, what
What
you've
I
you've heard me refer to the fact that these are different movies in
yes.
the other recordings we've done. So what were you anticipating?
Spy stuff and for it to be more mundane than the recent stuff because it came out in 96 apparently. I didn't realize it was that late in the 90s. But it came out in 96. I'd heard that, like you said, you're giving me the idea that it is more recent. Only thing I knew was he had the moment with the granted, while I had seen clips of the sorry, you can't see my hands. They're spread out.
Oh, the like floor thing,
Yeah, the
the
floor thing.
falling, the can't
Yeah,
touch the floor
the
thing. Yeah.
I didn't realize. Yeah, I while I had seen clips of that, as well as another scene that shows up in the movie that we'll get to, the falling from the ceiling. I thought the room was black, low lighting. He was like, I thought he
Almost
stopped above
the,
what.
the the impossibly opposite.
Yeah,
Like
well, I remembered him
it's
wearing
hilarious.
black, but I thought he was like black in a low lit room and just like floating above the mission objective doing this. Like he
Yeah.
dropped and stopped right above it as opposed to what happened. So I was happy that I got kind of like, okay, yeah, I zeitgeist to myself into not actually seeing this scene before. So it was still fresh. Um, And yeah, I was looking forward to it. I wanted to see what all had changed, just who was around, who wasn't, what his old team was like. Because I had heard that he got a new team starting when he made the new movies on his own. So I was interested in all of that. And yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and hop into it. Movie starts, and oh hey, we're in Kiev, Russia, because apparently it's always Russia. The most recent movie had to deal with Russians, at least at the start, and this one dealt with Russians right at the start. They're interrogating the dude.
Well, Kiev is Ukraine, where notably
Ah,
in 2025 is a very different country than Russia.
fair enough. I apologize. So, for the folks at home, I'm American, and apparently, and thus that means I'm not good with geography. I do apologize for that.
Or world events.
No, I know Ukraine doesn't like Russia because of what Russia's doing, and Russia's a terrible place.
Well, it's a
But
war. There's a war going on.
again, Russia's a terrible place doing terrible things.
I'm just saying.
War comes with terribility.
Of all
Uh,
times in
I don't know how much you
to,
want me to
to
tell
to
you how
to
bad of a place Russia is.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying of all times for you to
To show that I'm
refer
not
to
pro
Kiev
Russia.
accidentally
Oh,
as
as Russia.
Russian
Yeah,
is
that's the
is
thing.
is accidentally in very poor taste. But
Fair.
we all know that it was an accident.
Yes.
It was just
Uh,
very funny.
yeah. So yes, they're talking in Ukrainian in the early scenes or Ukraine. And yeah, they got the man in the room that they're interrogating. And I see a guy with a mustache, and I'm like, is the dude with the mustache Tom? I'm pretty sure that's gonna end up being Tom. And it was cool because I've watched too many movies at this point, not and I mean that in the best way possible. But I'm like peeping things in the background, like that girl just squirted something in that dude's drink. They made him try to be subtle with that, but I saw that. I thought she was about to give it to Tom, but no, she took it to the other room and like poisoned the other guy. Oh, and I'm like, okay. Oh no, I thought she was gonna give it to the guy watching the camera. Like he thinks they're running a scam, but she's behind him and she's about to feed him a drink. Oh no, that she's in on it. And sure enough, we get our first ever of many Tom Cruise face reveal.
Dun dun dun
Dun, dun,
dun dun dun.
dun, dun, dun. Now, was this based on a TV show?
Yes.
I thought so. I thought I had heard that. So and I'm like,
Very
it's
old cop
yeah.
show. Yeah.
Like if you're a fan of that and then you see this movie and then that comes on, it's like I wonder just how they would have felt. Like with that thing, like, oh, like would they have been like hyped, like, yes, they're doing the thing, or what the hell is this?
No, it was a very big deal that that they were using the original theme, but also because that original theme is fucking awesome.
Oh, not just the
Like,
theme, just
man,
like what the presentation of the
oh yeah,
movie
yeah, yeah.
compared to the show. Obviously, they're gonna pop for the theme. You always pop for a good theme.
But like the fact that that's the original TV theme, it's fucking sick. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's the core. Like, obviously, it's modernified a little bit and cinematic, made bigger. But its core, it just written out on music, its notes is that bum 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 bum. Yeah.
yeah, I loved it.
Ba-da-da,
But
ba-da-da.
yeah, one of the things I always love about these things because we see John Boyd on the plane and he gets referenced to watch a movie or whatever. What I love when they do these missions that'll do this, should you choose to accept it, blah blah blah. This tape will self-destruct. I love how fucking calm the self-destruct always is.
It's
It's just like, yeah, puff of smoke.
Well,
Da, da,
they're
da, da, da.
spies. They can't, it's got to be.
Okay, so
That's why I
it's
love that. I love that moment when because Voight lights a cigarette, and as soon as it explodes, catches fire. He blows smoke into the smoke to like cover,
yeah,
and that's him being a spy and laying the cover down.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I grew up with Inspector Gadget. whose missions also self-destructed. And they were a lot more loud and boomy.
Yeah.
So I always expect the big boom on this message was self-destruct. But yeah, no, I love that.
I
And
think
it
yeah, yeah, yeah. You might get some booms at some point in the franchise.
fair. But it was just one of those things where like I like it because like you said, it's spies, it's supposed to be quiet, it's supposed to be where you can blend in so you can just be on a plane back when they had smoking flights and
Where
watch it.
everywhere was smoke. Like the fact that we used to go to restaurants and there was a wall about 4.5 feet high that somehow magically separated the smokers from the not smokers. Crazy, crazy world we used to live in. And this is coming from a person who smoked a lot of cigarettes.
Yeah, I remember. But yeah, we get our first mission right away. Like we hop right into like, hey, we got a meeting going on. Here's our mission briefing. John Voight's the big dog telling everybody else about how we're gonna do things. He mentioned something about if I tell you to abort, walk the fuck away. I'm like, Ethan's not gonna walk away. Tom Cruise is a fucking maverick. That's what he does. Yes, I know he played a guy named Maverick in Tom Cruise, but I'm pretty sure that's what they named the fucking trope after. So that's what, like that's just what he do. He's
Yeah,
going
that's
to
Tom Cruise.
yeah.
That's the Tom
Like
Cruise archetype that he plays in almost everything.
exactly. And they're talking about the things and they're planning their devices and the guy comes up with the gum. He's like red light, green light. Put them together, bam. And it's like, I hope he feeds somebody that gum. Just as a way to
Yeah.
get out of, just an assassination thing. Just
Gum?
because he's like, don't chew it. But yeah, so we get to the first mission and it's going pretty well. I thought dude in the elevator shaft, I'm like, why is he in the elevator shaft with it coming up and down? That's dangerous.
Emilio!
Yeah, but it's going pretty well. And then I'm like, so how is this gonna go wrong? Because they're just kind of smooth sailing. There's that bit with the fingerprint, but that kind of rolled over real fast. And it's just like, okay. And then after they get their first thing where they're trying to stop this Noctilus from getting out, they get the disc, or they're trying to get the disc, and all of a sudden, we finally start having things go wrong. Elevator. There goes Jack. Jack's dead. And I'm like, well, shit, it's starting to go bad. Then the captain dies, and I put it in my note. At the time he did it, I put it with air quotes, or with literal quotes. But I'm like, oh, stand down moment. The captain dying. I didn't believe he was dead because he just kind of went, and fell in the water. So I thought he was gonna, now to be fair, I thought he was gonna come back later in some big reveal to save the day. But this is him going undercover to make the bad guys think he died. But then I'm like, okay, he's dead. They didn't abort because, of course, they didn't abort. Tom Cruise is not gonna abort. He wants that fucking disc. He's a maverick. He's gonna do what he wants. And then people just start dying left and right. The blonde dies in the car. The other person dies. The other girl gets stabbed through the fence, which I mean, you walk up and see a guy clearly getting stabbed through the fence. Why would you lean up against that fence?
Yeah, that's like I the position that Ethan finds her in, I'm like, how stupid was like you like I understand you're a woman and we don't know who this assailant was, but like you're also a trained agent of some capacity.
You're literally
Like,
tailing a guy. Like,
yeah, the position like it looked like you would have had to get uncomfortably dangerously close to that cage when you wouldn't have had to.
yeah.
Like he was basically holding the disc outside of the cage when you came up to it. You could have just
Yeah, so that was weird that we found her dead, but I expected her to die. Um, but yeah, I'm like, okay, this is crazy. And, we eventually he calls Kittredge. I'm not gonna call him Kissinger now. It's Kittredge. I made sure to write it down and memorize it. Um, he calls him, and I'm like, wait, I'm pretty sure that's the same actor for Kittredge, right?
Yeah.
That was in six. I'm like, hey,
Yeah,
same actor for him.
he's the only through line with Tom through all the films.
Okay. Um, because we see another actor that I was like surprised to be in this movie as well as the later ones, which we'll get to.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I was thinking for some reason in my head I wasn't thinking that he was in this one when we literally just watched it. I just watched it. But for some reason I was thinking, no, Ving comes in two. Um,
yeah. Yeah, so that caught me off guard later. I was like, wait, Ving's in this one? Because I remember you told me he got a new team because he got a Simon Pegg or whatever his real name is, the actor from like the Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead movies.
uh-huh.
Uh, I knew he was a later addition based off our previous conversations. I thought he and Ving were, but I saw Ving in this movie. I'm like, oh shit. But
He was brought on by JJ because he's big
with
friends
J.J.
with JJ.
Abrams,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So he's not, he won't appear until three.
Hmm. Which
And I
makes
think it
sense.
might even take him a couple of movies to to actually
A main character.
be a field agent and not just
Yeah.
some nerd that Tom talks to every once in a while. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen four and five. I'm
Yeah,
excited to get to there.
yeah, we'll see it as we go. But yeah, so I didn't figure that he'd be framed in the first movie.
Oh
I thought he would be a
man.
trusted agent for like the first two, and then the third one is when they're like, our most trusted agent betrayed us. The
Every
nation
single
is now
movie.
against him.
It is very it is very formulaic. It is yeah. The only difference is in this original one, there's technically not a like a MacGuffin.
Yeah,
Like
the closest thing to a
Tom
MacGuffin is
creates
the
the MacGuffin.
Noctilus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's not we find out pretty quickly that that's actually a MacGuffin. Like it's just a
it's just a
it's
fake thing to wheel out the mole. It
yeah.
was a mole hunt. And it's like, okay, that's crazy that he's already being framed. Goes back to the same safe house, which I thought was crazy. But he went back to to their safe house, stays up all night to find out about this job 314. I'm like, is this somehow related to St. Louis? Of course not. It's
Three
related
one
to
four.
it's related to the Bible, as he figures out. Job 3:14. Because some guy from Czech or some Czech person named Max wants that knock list and was sold out to by an agent. And so he's there. Dude comes in the room. John Voight's character shows up. Phelps shows up, and it turns out it's an illusion. No, it's this other girl who I mistook for the blonde that got in the car that exploded.
Oh.
I'm like,
She
oh,
was in the car when Tom initially walked past it.
okay. Yeah, I was just like, wait, that girl lived? Well, then I don't trust her. So I immediately didn't trust her because I thought she was the blonde that was in the exploding car and didn't remember people's names. And I was like, okay. And I was like, wait, was she dude's wife? I don't think so because I thought one of the other two was, oh, nope, it was the wife. Okay. Anyway, she lived and I'm like, that's crazy. I don't really trust you. You just kind of showed up. Which he didn't trust her initially either, to be fair. He's from a fucking spy network. But yeah, he eventually meets Max. We have their initial meeting. The fucking disc. Hey, don't put the disc in. They gonna show up in like 2 minutes. And this dumb bitch puts the disc in. I don't know why you would. He'd already told you. That's not the smart thing to do. But sure enough, that was a thing. We had their little escape. But the movie moves relatively quickly. He decides he's gonna make his own team to do this mission in Langley. And that's when we meet Ving and Leon the professional. I'm pretty sure that guy's Leon the professional. If not, I'm really like oh for like whatever when it comes to talking about where people are from and what they
Yeah.
are.
No,
But
that's
yeah, something
it's
Renault,
Jean Renault.
John Renault, and he meets them, and I'm like, okay, either Jean Renault's gonna die or he's also a bad guy because one of these guys is here in movie six and the other guy is not. So either he's dying or as the mission goes on and he keeps like just barely almost ruining it. I'm thinking he's Job or the guy that was the mole in everything. But yeah, we get the mission at Langley and them sneaking through with the fire alarm thing, which, okay, people at the CIA headquarters, a fire department comes in to tell you there's a fire before the alarm goes off. That should automatically tell you something's wrong. They're like, we're here because of a fire in Sector 21. There's no fucking fire in Sector 21. Look at the screen. No, look, I'm telling you, there's a fire. We heard the alarm. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, I guess there is an alarm going on in Sector 21. But it wasn't when they came in. But nonetheless, cool sneak in sequence. Got the girl doing the thing with the coffee to make the guy sick. I was a bit confused as what that guy's importance was. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention during the planning phase because I do like that these movies kind of spell out the plan to you before it happens, and then things more or less go according to plan with occasional like wrinkles. But it's still like, oh, okay. Oh no, they're actually doing this. And we get the scene, the drop over the thing. Because if you even so much as have a drip of perspiration on the floor, it's over.
Yeah,
They showed a
this room
cup,
is temperature protected. It is
sound sensitive,
sound sensitive, and it is pressure sensitive.
and there were lasers, but they were very inconsequential.
Yeah, barely an inconvenience.
Yeah, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Just put the damn zip,
you
boop. Oh,
got
okay.
you got some tech for that, but yet they're still doing manual manpower pulley systems that like ancient Egyptians would have used.
Yeah. And dude is just struggling up there too. Just
Yeah, who would blame him? And then he's fucking dealing with a rat. Like
I'm like, okay, the rat's gonna
nobody
ruin this.
nobody can blame that man.
Yeah, because
Uh,
I'm just expecting like the alarm
he
to
does
go
try to
off.
chop Tom Cruise's head off a little bit later in the movie, so he gets what's coming to him.
Yeah.
But in that moment, nobody can blame what goes on there.
Yeah, I'm like, I was expecting him to kind of ruin things because of how much he was struggling. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have to have some like high speed escape from this because dude is barely holding on to Tom. And then the rat shows up. And I'm like, fucking rat's gonna ruin this for us. But that gives us the actual drop shot that everybody's familiar with because
Hmm.
he comes so close to the floor. And they meanwhile poison the dude. He comes back for extra tension to come into the room as Tom's getting pulled up, manages to get the knock list, which is the secret identities of every spy in North America so that the world can know and you can't be covert about anything anymore. Um, and as he's coming up, he gives him the disc, goes merci, and drops a knife. Why was the knife in your hand? Why did you? That's
For the
when I
rat.
went. That's when I went. Is Leon Job? Like, is he here trying to screw things over? Because he just dropped the knife. And then we get back to the room. He's like messaging, and we get the sleight of hand scene. And I have seen the sleight of hand scene clip. I didn't know it
Okay.
was from Mission Impossible. I didn't know what was going on, but I
Yeah, but
seen
it is a
Tom Cruise.
clipified thing because it is Tom Cruise actually doing sleight of hand.
Yeah. And it's cool. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, I'm like, that's a cool thing. I always think it's great when actors learn how to do those things for movies because it's just like I respect the extra mile,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it's like small tangent, the Marvel movies, there's a side character from the Ant-Man movies. He's a cop. He sees Paul Rudd doing sleight of hand and stuff. He's like, "How do you do that in one of the Ant-Man?" And then later, I think it's in WandaVision, he
Mm-hmm.
walks up to somebody and just now he's mastered. Oh no, they in between he's like trying to learn in some
Yeah.
other cameo, and then in WandaVision he's a master of sleight of hand now, and it's like ah, I'm
Character
rewarded for
development.
watching all this shit. Anyway, bottom line is that was a cool scene, and I kind of thought what happened actually happened. That what's his name did have the real disc and Tom Cruise was just tricking him to thinking he had the fake one. And I'm like, but when he threw it in the trash can, I'm like, but that could have broke it. At the same time, it'd be really funny if he did have the fake disc, and then sure enough, gives it to Ving Rhames. We're on here. And I'm looking at the old girl. I still don't trust her. And then I see that the Bible, like Tom Cruise does when we get the big reveal, this is from that hotel in Chicago that Phelps stayed at. Huh. Okay. I knew not to trust these motherfuckers. I knew not to believe that nigga died, and I knew not to trust his wife. Fuck them both. I don't trust neither one of y'all. We get especially when I saw the reveal that he was, at the hotel. He was the spy the whole time. It makes too much sense. And then Hunt's parents get arrested. We get the phone call at the airport where they're watching the clock, and you can clearly see Tom Cruise is looking at something with his hand over the receiver. So I'm like, he's gonna cut it off right before they can find him. And then they show us like the clock up top, click, and then we get the reveal. Hey, surprise, Phelps didn't die. Just in time to be like, I'm gonna tell you who actually is. It's Kittredge. And I'm like, okay, we know based off the book
Yeah.
that it ain't Kittredge and it's probably this dude. Tom, I'm gonna assume that Tom's not gonna be stupid enough to think that this guy's right. And I love that they don't treat us like we are stupid during that scene where he's trying to make up this lie. They're showing what actually happened in the scene because we kind of figured it out anyway. I'm like,
Hmm.
good. Don't try to swerve us by being like, oh, you thought? No, he's telling you this. Did he really do it? Was it really Kittredge? No, motherfucker. We understood when he saw the same name of the fucking hotel. Motherfucker was lying.
Yeah.
But I like the little reveal of things, and that's when I realized the wife wasn't the blonde and that they were separate people. And I was like, damn, I just misunderstood things. I'm like, I suspected this lady for the wrong I correctly suspected this lady for the wrong reasons. But yeah, we get the so we set up the whole thing and we get our scene on a train, which you did mention that the scene on the train in the last one was kind of a shout out to this scene on a train. And yeah, the whole little set up with here's your disc, ha ha ha, your money's in the back car. And he like tried to tell dude to stay in Paris, but guy came on the train anyway, which looked like it would have made sense. Yeah, I'm gonna kill Ethan on the train when he tries to do the deal, only for old girl to reveal that I am still loyal to my husband. Cause who would have fucking guessed? Uh, and Tom Cruise takes off the mask because of course he does. I do love that they don't over abuse the mask thing. Yeah, they do it twice in this movie, but you would expect like as the series goes on, they just ha 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 ha. But it's usually like once or twice a film that they do the mask reveal.
Hmm.
It's like you expect it, but they still do it just enough to make it somewhat of a sorry. They do it just enough to make it like pop out to you.
Yep.
So I do like that. And he's like, I really wish you wouldn't have said you were here to kill me. But then John Voight's like, surprise, motherfucker, I didn't stay in Paris like you told me to. We get that whole little showdown. He puts on the glasses to show Kittredge that dude is alive. So now Kittredge is on to, okay, Ethan Hunt's been on our side the whole time. Because of course he has. Why
Maybe
would
I
you?
should trust him if I find myself in this situation in the future. Spoilers, he
He
won't.
doesn't. I don't think he ever does. But yeah, we get the climax scene on top of the train, which ironically feels a lot more realistic than the most recent movie on top of the train. Because like the way they deal with the momentum effects on the human body compared to like the modern day where they're standing, stop there, where are you going? Ah, la, 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 full ass conversation. This one is like, if I let go of my hands, I'm flying forward.
Yeah. Well, this one, like that one is like a train, and then this is the bullet train that goes underneath the English Canal and connects England to France. So that was that,
Ah,
when they go into that tunnel, that's what that was.
gotcha. So yeah, they were, but no, I like that. And then all of a sudden, here comes Leon in a fucking helicopter because the stakes weren't high enough. And now the helicopter's tied to the train, fucking flying, and then they go in the tunnel with the helicopter. Down the thing. And as if it wasn't ridiculous enough visual wise, we got the guy in the train like, no, seriously, it's a helicopter connected to us. No, don't slow down, speed up. But yeah, that whole sequence, just the fighting and sticking to the magnets, trying to jump from the helicopter. I was scared that Tom Cruise, when he was on the side of the train, was going to try and do this in between the trains. Like when the other oncoming train was going. Because I know his penchant for doing these stunts as authentically as possible nowadays. I'm like, don't tell me this motherfucker really risked, even back then, trying to fit between two trains as a stunt in the movie. Some things ain't worth it, man. But no, he got on top of the train as the train passed. And then when they hopped on and they did the jump to the helicopter, it looked, I guess because it's 2025, it looked like that wasn't them actually jumping onto a helicopter in the middle of a tunnel following a train like he probably would try to do today.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't even know if we're at the point where he's able to do his own stunts
Okay.
because studios have such an investment in him. Like he had to start executive producing his films in order to do his own stunts because nobody would insure him otherwise. Um, I believe. I could be wrong, but yeah, he's doing his own stunts in some regard. Like probably, I would say the biggest real actual stunt that he's doing at one point is the aquarium restaurant moment. Like that's probably a real stunt that he is really involved in. Most of this train stuff is probably him on a simulated train with like a super powered fan blowing
Oh my
on
God.
him
Yeah,
kind of thing.
which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It makes for a great action scene.
Yeah, it's perfectly great. Yeah. And no risk of killing yourself, Tom Cruise. But hey,
Thank you for doing so
the final
nonetheless.
one's out and you're still alive,
Yeah,
so
so thank you for doing so nonetheless, but damn you crazy. Damn, Tom, you crazy.
you crazy for this
Oh,
one, Tom.
yeah. So we get the fight with the helicopter, and we get the call back at the end of the day with the gum because he apparently had two pieces. He pulls out, hey, guess what?
And you know what? As useful as that thing was twice in this movie, guess how much it comes back in the rest of the series? Never seen again.
It's a very useful device. Just
Yeah, I mean, an explosive that's this big and fits. You can fit like 20 of them in your pocket.
yeah. And I'm telling you, just give a piece to somebody and just make them blow their head off.
I thought about that in this movie because, like you said, he goes, and don't chew it. And I was like, oh man, what if you? Because I know that it's not going to happen. Um, but I thought about like, oh, what if it did? And I wonder if because of whatever it is, it's going to taste so much like gum so quickly that you won't even get to the point where you're like masticating it enough to activate the I don't know, but I'd still love to see it happen. Who knows?
Maybe that happens in part seven.
Maybe that's an Easter egg for the part seven viewers. All have wanted this to happen for seven movies.
Oh man, movie starts like two dudes just kind of chilling outside of a Russian base.
Some dude who's not Tom Cruise offers the guy gum.
A guy chews
Head
it.
pops. Boom, boom, boom,
Dun,
boom.
dun. Exactly. That's the beginning of the movie. Uh, but yeah, so we get the big thing. Helicopter explodes. John Voight falls under the helicopter. Boom, boom, boom.
Ooh, yeah. I think I don't know if it was off camera or right when we started,
You mentioned the
but
gory things.
Emilio Estevez in the elevator in the beginning there. And then John Voight at the end. Probably the two most gruesome things in the franchise. I might be corrected on that as we watch forward, but I can't think of a because so many deaths are very silent stabbings in spy
Stabbing
ways,
or typical
silencer
gun to
guns
the
or
face, you know,
or
we
like
Americans are
honestly this series even does
desensitized to it.
they'll do like a two shot to the chest maybe
Yeah.
more often than a headshot. um I can't think of a lot of gruesome deaths right now, and those two might be, although they're not super gruesome, like you see like it's like split second gruesome. Like it's clearly
Yeah.
like
It's like,
a rubber dummy,
and boom.
and you have a single frame of the spike entering the face, or you have a single frame of that body being dragged under the helicopter as it hits ground. Um, yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
Yeah. But I like the thing coming to a stop, like right here by his throat for maximum tension. Dude in the train, like scared that he
Sharpened
was
into
about to
like
be.
the coolest battle-worn medieval sword I've ever seen in my life.
It does look
Like
like a sword to the throat. Like, all right, Damocles, I see you. Uh, but yeah, and then sure enough, Ving Rhames is like just walks up to Max with Kittredge. I believe this is what you were looking for. Nice to meet you, Max. My lawyer will hear this. Bitch, we ain't going to court. What the fuck you think this is? This is way beyond going to court. You tried to steal the identities of every fucking covert spy in America and broadcast that shit over the internet. No. By the way, their I forgot to mention, their internet access, the fucking graphics for the emails, hilarious.
Hilarious. Hilarious. I mean, just seeing new tech back then, like just him watching the movie on the airplane and all of that nonsense of it, the corded remote attached to it, the little cassette thing,
Yeah,
the little tiny screen that's square and shitty. Hilarious.
yeah,
All of it's
the
hilarious.
cassette tape that looks like a typical like put it in your car cassette tape, but it plays movies. I was like, okay, but I'm like, maybe that's just the sound. That's supposed to be the soundtrack to the movie you're watching. You know what I mean? Like you sync it up, like how old school movies used to work anyway. You watch something on screen and you play the audio in another room and
Yeah,
they sync
maybe.
up. But yeah, nonetheless, that was hilarious. But yeah, they do the thing. Looks like Ving Rhames is no longer disavowed. Tom Cruise doesn't want to not be disavowed anymore. He'd rather be out the game. But then he gets on a plane and they walk up to him with another fucking tape and the theme music plays.
Bum, bum. Yep.
And we're already aware that there's going to be six more of these damn things. So of course he's going to get back in the game. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, we know you will. You'll always accept it. And then you'll be framed for treason. And we're going to believe that you betrayed us until you prove that you will never betray us until the next movie where we give you a mission and then frame you.
Takes him 4 years to do the next one.
I can see that. There's generally a good amount of time in between those movies.
Yeah, he waits 4 years to do number two, and then it's 6 years after that for him to restart the franchise with number three. And then at that point, it's kind of every 2 years
Oh,
there's
okay.
a Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
But the first three take a minute. I mean, yeah, it is literally a decade to get three movies out.
Yeah, that's 2006. Yeah, that's crazy. But that was Mission Impossible, the first one. I loved it. It was uh it was different, and while I was expecting it to be more mundane, it had just enough action and just enough pacing to where I didn't mind it. It still very much was similar to the recent ones. Like you said, they're formulaic to a point, but I I'm
But
an
all
X-Men
spy
fan.
movies,
Yeah.
special agent movies are usually like
Yeah.
bad guy has a bad thing that we don't want the bad guy to have.
Yeah.
You either have to go steal that bad thing or kill that bad
Yeah.
guy.
I've read a lot of X-Men in One Piece. I'm fine with formulaic stories. And just give me what I like and keep giving me what I like. I like the formula. That's why you drink Mountain Dew because every time it's the same fucking Mountain Dew. You drink whatever because the formula's there and you're like, I like this. This tastes good.
Sprunk.
Dopamine. Exactly. Dopamine, motherfucker. Give it to me. So, yes, I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the similarities despite it being different from its later things. The stunts were still there. They just were not, let's jump off a fucking mountain.
Right.
But he's still riding a fucking bullet train. The character's still riding a bullet train while being chased by a helicopter about to cut his head off under the English Channel, which bizarre enough in and of itself just to say. And this is how we start the franchise. So I'm looking forward to the rest of these. I'm not gonna lie. I was looking forward to it when you said let's do the whole series. After watching five and six, especially after watching both five and six, I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Second, you brought up the idea of, we mentioned throwing that out there. Want to just do that now? Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to kick off the season. Yeah. So next week we are going to be hitting Mission Impossible 2. This one directed by John Woo.
Oh my goodness. I better see some fucking dual wielding. Because
You
I
will see
think that's a
birds.
well, yeah. The dual wielding and the birds is all I know about John Woo movies. He loves his birds and he loves the like dual wielding pistols. Those are the John Woo things. And you know what I like? Birds and dual wielding pistols. Face Off was a fun movie.
We'll
Uh
have to see.
Face Off was a fun movie, and so were other John Woo movies I've seen, though I may not have seen a lot of them. That said, if you want to see a lot of what we've seen already, like I said, this is season 4. 3 seasons of it are on the channel. Go check it out. And we got new episodes on Tuesdays. On Mondays we have mock draft. We draft some things, but it's also kind of mainly a wrestling show. We got a lot of stuff involving with that. We also have on Saturdays a show You Don't Watch Sports. Two guys, three topics, help you sprinkle a little information into your casual conversation. Be a guy that like to see a casual sports talk. Whenever it happens, whatever we want will return. I also have a Twitter and Twitch at Giotabi. That is Giotabi. Come on in, stop on by. Streaming Earth Day 240. Maybe streaming
Diamond
some other
4.
things. That's right. Diamond Forward, Street Fighter, and climbing. We'll see you later, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Adiosness.